Rob Whittaker squares off against Ikram Aliskerov this weekend as Khamzat Chimaev has been hospitalized and replaced by Ikram. Today we're going to take a look at the UFC Saudi Arabia card from top to bottom and talk about the stakes and the matchups for the fights on the card without giving any predictions. Those predictions will come later this week. Stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt and this is Fight Society. Alright guys, so I had to fix this video because Khamzat pulls out, can't show up to a fight, so this part I had to re-record given that Khamzat pulled out. Rob Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov is a matchup that should not be happening in the main event. We have Rob Whittaker, perennial number one contender at 185 pounds, going up against an unranked Ikram Aliskerov. This fight should not be happening. Caio Borralho wanted to fill in. They should have done something like that. They should have gave Rob Whittaker a ranked opponent or just pulled him off the card and moved Sergei Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov up to the main event. But I understand Ikram is very similar to Khamzat, you could say. They're of the same variety of fighter that the Saudis and the UAE want headlining cards. So this is similar to Umar Nurmagomedov getting a huge jump up in the rankings to Corey Sandhagen, except Ikram's filling in on short notice, at least for the fight. He actually was ready to fight on the Perez versus Tatsuro Taira card against Anthony Tricoli, but he was pulled off of that card to fill in here. So Anthony Tricoli gets on the UFC roster and doesn't have to fight a rising prospect. So he's got a better matchup coming for him sometime down the line. Rob Whittaker and Ikram Aliskerov. You have Ikram Aliskerov, who they have repeatedly tried to get him in there with high-ranked opponents. They had him booked against Paulo Costa, pulled Paulo Costa off of that card. They had him in there against, I believe it was Anthony Fluffy Hernandez at 298. He pulled out of that. They tried to have him fight Andre Muniz on the June 15th card, Perez versus Taira, and Andre Muniz pulled out, which led to the Anthony Tricoli booking, and now you have him versus Robert Whittaker. So it seems like the best way to get a title shot, if you're from this part of the world, is you pull out of the tough matchups the same way that Umar Nurmagomedov did. You pull out of the tough matchups when they're on U.S. soil, and then you go fight on your home turf where the commission is sketchy, the judges will be in your favor, things like that, where you don't have to go through as many travel implications and restrictions, things like that, travel halfway across the world. So Rob Whittaker is taking this fight, and here's why I think he's taking this fight, is that they offered him a gigantic bag to fight Khamzat Chimaev, fighting somebody down in the rankings in Saudi Arabia, given the $20 million site fee that the UFC was paid by Saudi Arabia for this card. I think that Whittaker is still probably getting the same paycheck that he's getting, or that he would have got for Khamzat Chimaev. So, and they probably promised him some sort of number one contenders fight, but he's in a weird spot where the guys that are fighting for the belt next, which is DDP and Israel Adesanya most likely, he's lost to Dricus once and he's lost to Izzy twice. So I think his best hope is that Sean Strickland gets the belt. However that works out, Sean Strickland gets the belt, and you do Whittaker versus Strickland for the 185 belt. That is Whittaker's easiest path to a title shot, because they're not going to give him a third shot against Izzy if Izzy has the belt at the time, and he probably needs more than this win to get him a rematch with Dricus du Plessis, but we'll see. As far as the fight goes, Ikram Aliskerov has shown that he is an explosive striker and not much grappling. Rob Whittaker, fantastic striker with good wrestling. Given the big step up in competition, I am concerned that Ikram Aliskerov will be biting off a little bit more than he can chew in this matchup, and that he might not be ready for such a matchup on, Rob Whittaker on like 9 days notice. That's a tall task. So Rob Whittaker's been known to be a little chinny at times, and Ikram Aliskerov has KO'd both of his two UFC opponents. So there is a chance that he goes in there and catches Rob early, but I'm definitely going to favor Rob in this matchup. So I think this fight's going to happen mostly on the feet. We'll see how Ikram's gas tank holds up and how he works on a game plan against Rob Whittaker. Switching from Antonio Tricoli to Rob Whittaker, and switching from 3 rounds to 5 on 9 or 10 days notice. So come back around later in the week and see my prediction video for Robert Whittaker versus Anthony Tricoli. Okay, now back to the part of the video that I recorded before Khamzat pulled out of yet another fight. All right, moving on from there, we have the co-main event of Sergei Pavlovich and Alexander Volkov. Now, this is going to be a battle of can Sergei close the distance and land a big overhand, or can Alexander Volkov keep him at range and chip away at the leg to limit the mobility and throw those front kicks to the body to suck away at the gas tank. These guys did not want to fight. They did not want to fight. Their former training partners in the UFC said, hey, get in there, kids. And that's what happened. So this is a maybe not a number one contenders fight, but I could see the winner of this fight getting... The heavyweight's so weird right now, because if John Jones wins against Stipe, he's going to retire. He's not going to fight Tom Aspinall, which would make the winner of Aspinall and Blades promoted to undisputed champ. I could see the winner of this fight getting that title shot sometime in 2025. And then the loser of this fight, in my opinion... Well, actually, if John Jones sticks around and fights the winner of Aspinall and Blades, then whoever this is would probably have to fight one more time in the meantime, or be a backup fighter for that, which Sergei would do. He was a backup fighter twice. So then you have Volkov, who has been around for a while, not gotten right up there to a title shot, but a win here could get him close, that's for sure. And I think that the loser of this fight, in my opinion, you guys saw my video a couple weeks ago, the loser of this fight is going to go up against Jailton Almeida, who called out Cyril Gane for a main event in France after his win at 302. I don't think they're going to do that fight. I think Jailton Almeida should fight the loser of this fight. Moving on from there, we have Kelvin Gastelum and Daniel Rodriguez. If Kelvin Gastelum loses this fight, it's time to hang it up. He's lost a lot of fights. He's bounced up and down between middleweight and 170. He got absolutely ragdolled and smothered by Sean Brady in his last fight. Kelvin Gastelum needs a win here. Daniel Rodriguez is old as well. The winner of this fight will probably get a ranked opponent. Both of them are unranked now. They both have been ranked in their respective 185 and 170 divisions. I think the winner of this fight gets a ranked opponent. This one's going to be fun. A lot of boxing on the feet. I think this is going to be a fun fight. Down from there, we have Muhammadjan Naimov against Melsik Bagdasaryan. And these are both two rising prospects. I assume there will be a lot of grappling in this fight from Naimov. And I think that the winner of this fight will get a ranked featherweight. I could see them fighting Lerone Murphy, Bryce Mitchell, somebody like that, somebody to break into the rankings. Maybe an Alex Caceres, Sean Woodson, something like that. And that one should be good. I'm not crazy pumped about that one, but what I really am interested in is Johnny Walker and Volkan Oezdemir. Now, Johnny Walker is just Chinny Walker. Forget Johnny Walker, he's Chinny Walker. He's lost a few fights in a row, except for the no contest against Magomed Ankalaev, which he ended up getting knocked out in their rematch anyway. Volkan Oezdemir, vet, been around the sport, hasn't fought in a while. He's only had one fight since October of 2022, and it was against Bogdan Guskov, who's now ranked. Now, the winner of this fight is not a number one contenders fight. This is like who's going to fight Khalil Roundtree next, or who's going to fight the loser of Olberg and Jamal Hill, or who's going to fight the loser of Yuri and somebody else. But this is just a card filler, ranked opponent, two ranked opponents. Should be a good fight. I hope Johnny Walker can get it pulled out, though, because he is exciting. He can't stop getting knocked out. Moving down from there, we have Shara Bullet Magomedov against Joyelton Lutterbach. This is actually a very interesting fight because people are like, oh yeah, they're just feeding Shara Bullet another bum. But Joyelton Lutterbach actually had a really impressive kickboxing career, and he has a lot of experience. As you can see right there, he's 38-9 in MMA, and he was a pro kickboxer in Glory. So this is something to keep an eye on. If Sharaput Magomedov wins this fight, he's getting a ranked opponent. He's getting a Marvin Vettori, which they originally were looking at for this card. He's getting a Marvin Vettori. He's getting a Chris Curtis, somebody like that. And look, if he wins this fight, this is no easy fight. If he wins against Joyelton Lutterbach, this is a very impressive statement win. And I think that he can get it done, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if Sharaput Magomedov gets a shot at a ranked opponent after this. But I think this is going to be a fantastic... It is a good matchup given the striking that they both have. It's a good matchup for Magomedov. They're not giving him a heavy grappler. But still, tough matchup. It's not just some guy, some bum that's 15-12 or something like that. He's 38-9, 47 pro MMA fights and pro kickboxing experience. If he wins this fight, I think that's a statement win and he's for real. Moving down from the card from there, you have Nasrat Haqparast who's been kind of bubbling as a semi-prospect. He lost to Dan Hooker, things like that. He's good. Jared Gordon should have beat Paddy Pimblett, and then he also got the headbutt against Bobby Green. But I think the winner of this fight gets a ranked 155er, like maybe a Drew Dober, somebody like that. Moving down, and I think this fight's going to be very mixed martial arts. It'll start on the feet, have some fence wrestling, a little bit of wrestling. I don't think this is going to be a straight striking fight like Magomedov and Lutterbach. So we move on from there. We have streaking Nicholas Dalby against Rinat Fakhretdinov. Both of these guys, this card's really freaking good. This is a banger card. And this is what happens when people like Saudi Arabia are willing to pay a $20 million site fee to the UFC. And then when the UFC tries to give them a shitty fight night like they tried to give them in March, they say, get out of here. We want something better. The UFC comes back and cooks. So here you have Rinat Fakhretdinov and Nicholas Dalby. Very impressive records, 21-1-1 against 23-4-1. Winner of this fight is going to get a ranked opponent. Nicholas Dalby just fraud checked one of the Bonfim brothers. And Fakhretdinov knocked out Kevin Lee and then had a draw against Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos. But whoever wins this fight's getting a ranked 170 pounder. And so that's just showing you the depth of this card. This is like a prelim. This is like 6 fights down from the main event, and these guys are about to be ranked. So down from there, you have Farid Basharat going up against Montel Jackson. You have one of the Basharat brothers who they're trying to push heavily, also very popular in this part of the world, going up against 13-2 Montel Jackson, another fringe ranking matchup. This shows you how deep this card is. I think the winner of this fight gets a ranked matchup. Same thing. I'm sorry, hate to sound like a broken record, but this is a very packed fight night. Down from there, you have Gafurov going up against Ho Kang, 19-10 Ho Kang going up against someone that's from this part of the world. They're trying to set up Gafurov for a win here. Then you have undefeated Magomed Gadziasalov at 205 against Brendason Hibero. Good matchup. But they're same thing, trying to set up trying to set up somebody from this part of the world that has a fan base in this part of the world for a dub. And then just below there, the opening fight of the night is actually the road to the UFC final. It is Zhao Long and Ho Li Chang, two very talented guys with good records. Zhao very experienced against a guy with a very good record. It's exciting to see them like branch out with all of these like kind of side shows that are cool, like with the Road to the UFC and Dana White Contender Series. I think these are way better like minor league feeder programs than the Ultimate Fighter. They should just get rid of the Ultimate Fighter, in my opinion. So opening the night with a Road to the UFC final. Then you have some good, feed them a win type of matchup. And then after that, they're cooking. You got Basharat, Montel Jackson, Fakhretdinov Dalby, Haqparast Gordon, Shara Bullet against Lutterbach. That's going to be a banger. Johnny Walker and Uzdemir, Imov and Bogdasarian, Gastelum and Rodriguez, Pavlovich and Volkov. This is going to be a great card, guys. I hope you guys are ready to get up and watch this early because it's going to be a morning card for us. It's going to start 8 a.m. Pacific time, like for me. So make sure you guys watch the card. A lot of big fights on it. Let me know down in the comments which one you're most excited for. Who do you think is going to win the main event? Let me know. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you want access to extra content aside from my regular videos, click the link in the description down below to become a channel member and get access to members-only live streams and other bonus perks. Or click the join button on our channel homepage. And if you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, check out my weekly podcast, the Hissyfit podcast, and check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World. I'll have them both linked in the description down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.